What's that? What's that? What's that? It's a pajama party. I got the Mickey Mouse. Ruby got.
Snowflakes.
It's not even Christmas. We're doing this in the summer, but it's still fun. It's
It's Canada. It's winter in Canada until July. Okay. Okay. Just don't get it twisted. Um, and for listen, I had to do this. Those of y'all who've been following Ruby and specifically Charlie for a while, you'll know why. But Mr. DJ Music had to eat some crow regarding a long-standing debate between me and Vonda versus Dre and Music. And so I just had to add to that. So it's the pajama party, and I had to add a bonnet. Had to add the head covering music. So now we gonna add to that crow because you still gotta tell me, is this worse than brother husbands? That's all I gotta ask. Anyway, so what's up, Zoe? How you doing today? We all know I'm sick as hell. How you doing?
we blessed, ready to finally get ready for the weekend. That's all I got to say. Ready for the weekend. So,
Mm,
I'm glad
definitely.
you feeling better. I'm glad you feeling well. Hope everybody's feeling well. Hope y'all having a great time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share the video. Share on your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those things. I know the intro's a little long, so we're going to get into it. And Ruby
Mm-hmm.
got something special for y'all. You know we got
Oh,
to do
do
the.
I?
Yeah, so you know we do got black excellence. So let's get
Mm-hmm.
to it.
And I might not get to the finish line with you, but I will continue to strive to carve out my own space before passing this baton on to a new generation of runners, confident in victory because success, it runs in my race.
Y'all, we have another wonderful segment of Ebony Excellence here for y'all today. I'm glad we have this segment so that way we can really keep track because whether or not you are aware, Ebony Excellence is everywhere and has been everywhere. And Black people have been doing really great things and breaking records left, right, and center for as long as I can remember. It's just no one's keeping track, but we're going to keep track, aren't we? All right. Now I want y'all to take a good long look at this high school senior, okay? This high school senior breaks national record, okay? National record of what? High school senior. I'm sure, let's be real. Let's be real. The stereotype would say something to do with football or some other sport, right? And we know that the stereotype wants to say that because it wants to say, hey, listen, that's about all we really do, right? We occasionally play basketball well. Let's look at Dennis Barnes. Meet Dennis Barnes, y'all, okay? He is a senior at International High School in New Orleans. Now, Barnes set a national record, receiving scholarship offers from 125 universities, totaling more than $9 million. Barnes's offers are more than any high school senior has ever received in the history of the United States. Okay, can we get some applause for that one? Ebony Excellence, y'all. Ebony Excellence. Oh! Oh! Feeling that one. That feels good. Barnes applied to 200 schools across the U.S., but has yet to decide where he will begin his career as a collegiate scholar. He will make his decision May 2nd. Now, what did Barnes say? Barnes said, I submitted college applications in August with an eye on raising the bar high for college admissions. Decision letters were an overflow in my mailbox and hundreds of scholarship offers. Barnes said. Amazing. Now, Barnes plans to major in, wait, what? Sports? No, guys, no. Because again, stereotypes are just stereotypes. He plans to major in computer science and criminal justice. Now, since his junior year at the International High School of New Orleans, Barnes has been dual enrolled at the Southern University of New Orleans. As an incoming freshman to whatever university he decides to attend, Barnes will already have college credits under his belt. Psst, of course he would. Of course he would. It's Ebony Excellence, y'all. Come on now. Come on now.
I remember applying to like 5, 6 schools, and you applied to over 200. What was the thought process going into it? Like, were you setting out to make a record?
I was just applying to schools that I knew the name, things that drew interest to me. And the more schools I applied to, I realized my numbers was going up. I'm getting more acceptances, I'm getting more offers. It was brought to my attention, okay, I'm on the verge of breaking a world record. Might as well just kind of see it through. Just being a black man is not something that we find too often in our community. To be able to set the standard and raise the bar to say, okay, as a black man, I could do more than dribble a ball. I could do more than throw a football or run the fastest, to say that we're mentally and academically capable of surpassing expectations is something that I feel good to be leading in right now. I'd like to use that influence to encourage others, other people in the black community, and just upcoming juniors that are going to be seniors next year to just keep pushing forward.
Now, Dr. Adiera Berger, head of the School for the International High School of New Orleans, said success is about having a vision. The road to a successful future is to plan ahead, network with collegiate partners, and know that if you can see your vision, you can achieve your goal. Now, I want to show you something. Look at this. This is crazy. This is crazy. Remember when I said, listen, ebony excellence is everywhere, we're just no one's keeping track? Well, let's see. Now, his goal, as we know, right? Mr. Barnes' goal. It's kind of crazy. You call like 17-year-old Mr. and Mrs. Like, but I remember how important that was when I was younger. So Mr. Barnes, okay? Our young man, prestigious man, record-breaking young man. That's right. Okay. Now, Mr. Barnes' goal is to reach 10 million, right? And that would see Mr. Barnes shatter a U.S. record set 3 years ago by another Louisianan, Normandy Cormier. Miss Cormier, who attended the historically black Xavier University of Louisiana and is now completing a master's degree at Louisiana State University, was offered a total aid of $9.4 million from some 140 schools in 2019. So according to The Guardian, she sought recognition from the Guinness World Records for her feat, and while the organization could not find a person with more offers in the US, it was unable to establish if she had broken a world record, given the global differences between higher education systems. Yeah. So didn't want to advertise that Miss Cormier, a black woman, got that record. Probably don't want to follow up that the person to break the record was a black man, right? Okay. Now back to Mr. Barnes. He is a National Honor Society president who is fluent. Back to Mr. Barnes. He is a National Honor Society president who is fluent in Spanish, has a near-perfect grade point average, and is already pursuing college credits at the Southern University at New Orleans. As we said, he's already going to be starting his freshman year with a bunch of credit under his belt. What? But the more you look, the more you find, right? Look at this. Look at this. 16 years old. Just 16 years old. What? You say high school senior does not paint enough of a picture because he's just 16 years old. Wow. And he's known by his middle name, Malik, right? And he's a National Honor Society president. We talked about this. But what we didn't see in the last article, right, is that his fluency in Spanish has earned him both a diploma from Spain's Educational, Cultural, and Sports Ministry, as well as an award from the European Nations Honorary Consul in New Orleans. That's crazy.
And I might not get to the finish line with you, but I will continue to strive to carve out my own space before passing this baton on to a new generation of runners, confident in victory because success, it runs in my race.
Wasn't that super inspiring? I mean, to begin with, right? The young Mr. Barnes, just to know that he was breaking records, and we were on par thought as far as like, he's like, yeah, at best, they always tell us black men, the only thing they can do is play sports. So, as he started the process very early, by the way, y'all, to get all these applications in. He didn't cheat or anything like that or use Chat GPT. Of course, people are accusing a young black man, a successful one, of cheating because that's the only way we could get by, right? But yeah, no, he sat there and diligently just applied and applied and applied. Super inspiring. And, to know that the previous record holder was a black young woman who got robbed of holding that title. In essence, Guinness just said, I don't know if you can even keep track of that record, right? So we have the world record for the stupidest things, right? And for things that you for sure can't confirm unless you saw every human being on the planet. But they have no problem recording that. But when it has to do with academic excellence and a black person, well, don't worry, y'all, because this time, Mr. Barnes, he's got people on his side, okay? And so the administration of the school is now going to official people and whatever to get the data fully recorded so that way it can be actually properly and officially held as the world record as he deserves. So kudos to Mr. Barnes and shout out to Char Willie for that suggestion. Totally lifted my soul this week. What do you think, Sal?
It's amazing.
There you go.
It's amazing. You always gotta see. It's good to see young brothers doing their thing. Young brothers stepping out, doing what we know we can do. Because a lot of times you see young dude, you talk to them, they kind of like, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is where the world put me. But seeing one that goes and gets it is amazing. It's always inspirational. You start seeing. Hopefully, y'all start seeing more of these, and y'all can start being more inspired to get out there and do it yourself. You're never too old. I was seeing Steve Harvey made it after 40, and multiple comedians, everybody made it after 40. So no matter how old you are, how young you are, just go get it because life has it for you. It's always good to see a young brother, and it was amazing. See, even though I knew about the sister because I'm close to the area she is, so I knew she broke the record, even though they didn't quite give it to her. So it's always amazing. I think he's a little further in Louisiana than where I'm at, but it's always amazing to see us winning.
Right? Isn't it just warms up my soul, has me ready for life. I love it.
Yeah. And speaking of, everybody's not having a good time out here because some people are fighting for more. So we're gonna get into this writer's strike happening in Hollywood. So we have breaking news. Not really breaking, but by the time I'm writing this is breaking. But this happened on Tuesday morning. And it's big. I was going to do my usual Florida is crazy story, but I decided to do this one instead. Next week, you will 100% get a Florida is crazy story. But let's talk about Hollywood. Hollywood is crazy story. It's not the same as Florida is crazy, but Hollywood is crazy. So the Writers Guild of America goes on strike. Television and film writers have gone on strike against major Hollywood studios: Netflix, Amazon, Apple, Disney, Discovery, Warner, NBC Universal, Paramount, and Sony. Basically all of them. The Writers Guild of America, an alliance of motion picture and television producers, which represents the studios, failed to come up with a new 3-year contract in advance of the old deal expiring at midnight Monday. Representatives of the WGA voted to call a strike, which went into effect at 12:01 a.m. Pacific time on Tuesday. The companies donate to them. This is NPR.org. This is our site, NPR.org. Donate to them. Go and show them some love. I didn't do it that time, but go do it then. The company's behavior has created a gig economy inside a union workforce, and their immovable stance in this negotiation has betrayed a commitment to further devaluing the profession of writing. The WGA said in a statement on Monday night, from their refusal to guarantee any level of weekly employment in the episodic television to the creation of a day rate in comedy variety, to their stonewalling, not storytelling, I'm into my movie, on free work for screenwriters and on AI for all writers. They have closed the door on the labor force and opened the door to writing as an entirely freelance profession. The WGA said picketing would begin Tuesday afternoon. In a statement sent to NPR sent shortly before the announcement of the strike call, AMPTP said it had presented a package proposal to the Guild, which included generous increases in compensation for writers, as well as improvement in streaming residuals. According to the statement, the Studio Alliance told the WGA it was prepared to improve that offer, but was unwilling to do so because of the magnitude of other proposals still on the table that the Guild continues to insist upon. The primary sticking points are mandatory staffing and duration of employment. Guild proposals that would require companies to staff a show with a certain number of writers for a specific period of time, whether needed or not. Now, this is fence sitting for me because as a writer, I understand the harshness of actually writing and how much work it goes into write a story. A lot of people don't understand that. If you've never written an actual novel, you wouldn't understand how long it actually takes. Most people write dissertations, which is full of research and other things. No, not hating on that. That is very difficult too. I have done that many of times myself. I've helped with many of those as well. But it's a different style of creative writing and coming up with concepts and ideas, and in a writing room with a bunch of writers, coming up with ideas in succinct. So I understand the struggles, but I also understand the struggles of business, right? As a owner of a business myself over on media, and soon to be I'll be that news network. I understand the struggle of business and understanding that if I don't need you for a certain length of time, but you requiring me to have you for a certain length of time could be considered asinine, right? That's the biggest hangup we have in here. The promised staff due times, the period. For instance, if I sign you for 5 years, but only the show gets canceled after 2, now I still have to pay you for 3 years and get a new show to staff. Unless in this detail, I want to come to a compromise where, of course, that half of the people staffed, right, would automatically go to a new show if presented, right? The contract will be on pause until you find you a new show. Maybe they could compromise on that. Let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. Could they compromise on that? But to me, as a writer, this is a big deal. As a business person, this is a big deal. It's not my usual politics, but this is some big Hollywood news. Well, let me know your thoughts. Are the writers in the right? Do you think they should get paid for their time? Do you think we can come to my healthy agreement? Or should, hey, listen, if I don't need you for 5 years, I'm not paying you for 5 years. I think if I don't need you for 5 years, do I pay you for 5 years? But also, you hired somebody for 5 years. It's in the contract. There's a lot to think about when you do this. This is why I was like, I'm sitting on the fence. So when you work in business, you kind of understand why you do certain things. You like, okay, do I want to would it be throwing money away? But then as a writer, it's not my fault per se if everything else doesn't work out. For instance, if the writing good but the actors don't act right, you didn't hire the right people, you didn't do the producers, I still gotta get paid. So it's kind of a iffy thing. Ruby, your thought?
Um, Unlike being an editor, which I think is a job that should have a standard wage based solely on the amount of work you did or the length of time you were working or whatever. Um, I don't think that writers, in this context of writing, right, or really any, like if you talk about, say, novelists, right, it would be like the equivalent of saying, well, if I sat down and wrote an essay, then I deserve an A because I wrote an essay, right? I wrote this research essay. I worked really hard on it. I wrote it. So I deserve an A. Where's my A? Right? And it's like, well, no, because the success or failure of your writing is going to have a lot to do with how well you perform. And to me, you thinking that you wrote something and just because you wrote it, you therefore deserve a certain type of wage or pay, I think is flawed. I think it's similar to me to the idea that they were trying to make salaries more fair between the WNBA and the NBA, or even within the NBA, they're trying to make salaries more fair. But it does come down to, like, listen, there is a direct connection, right, between how well you perform versus how much money I think you should make. And I think the fact is that until they want to truly come to the table, and on their side, they want to really consider that. They want to say, hey, listen, here's massive amounts of perks, bonuses, and whatever when we perform to a certain standard that's above, meets or exceeds excellence, or meets or exceeds expectations, or whatever it is, right? Then we should get this kind of bonus. But if we don't, then we don't get that, right? We get a really basic, cheap kind of wage, kind of like servers. As much as people think it's super unfair, but I don't think it's unfair for you to pay servers minimum wage. They walk to and from one place. Like, that's it. They take your order, they walk, they put that in. They take the order, they bring it to you. That's it. And if they do it with a smile, they can earn like 20% or 50% even, right? But that's the point. To ensure promptness, your tip is directly based on their performance. So to me, just saying, well, I just deserve more because I am a writer, because overall this show did really well. Well, did the show do well because of your writing even? Or did it have something to do with something else? Like, I don't know, special effects, promotion, because there's a lot of shows that the writing is garbage. Okay. Archie, Riverdale, that is a garbage show. Okay. The writing is trash. You don't deserve a raise. In fact, you guys deserve a downgrade until someone figures out how to write a cohesive story that still stays true to the lore that you supposedly have created, right? So, I mean, I'm just saying, I think there's a lot of stuff that goes into this, and I don't think that they think that they have to consider that. But it's like, no, I just deserve, if the stars get paid $1 million for delivering my crappy lines in a way that sells the show, then I too deserve $1 million for having written the crappy lines. Like, no, that's not the way it works. And I think they have to also come to the table with something better if they want to be compensated for excellence, but also be prepared to not be compensated if you're not excellent. Real talk.
Yes, the whole Writers Guild is House of Dragon is still going because they're recording. So any shows, basically, if your favorite show is in record mode, they are good. It's just the shows that haven't been written yet. So it affects Marvel, all the Disney products, Sony, everything. So if you got a movie or show you're looking forward to, until they get it fixed, it will probably be over, because this is basically a union. They unionized, they got together. It's not even about pay. Cause when I read the report, they gave a higher pay. They just want it guaranteed. That's the difference. Like, cause instead of, oh, I pay you this much, and they're like, okay, we good with that. But if we fire you, you only get 10%. They're like, nah, I want the whole thing. So that's the really thing.
Right. It's all about money. It's about money, and it's about undeserved money. This is why you think I had the rant I had. It's about undeserved money. That's what it is. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to be fair to everybody. Okay, I'm not. But you know what? Listen. Listen, I call out everybody. Okay, a spade is a spade is a spade. Okay, let's take a look at the next story, because the next story, trust me, I'm calling out the same thing, and some of y'all are gonna hate me for calling it out. Real talk, but listen, a spade is a spade is a spade. And shout out to Shar again for this story, because this one made my week. Thank you, Shar.
Shout out to Char Willie for this story as well. Okay, now I'm going to tell you, this is in Atlanta, Georgia. It may or may not apply to your city. Please double check before taking any of the advice or suggestions that happen within this story. And remember, these are not the opinions of All Be That News. We are just sharing what is happening in the world. Okay.
He started Atlanta is cashing in on people fed up with parking lot boots, and who isn't? He started selling keys
And
to
who
people
isn't?
to unlock them without paying the steep fines the parking lot companies usually charge.
But is it legal? Fox 5's Rob DiRienzo talked to the man and asked police.
Well, it'll ruin just about anyone's day to walk out to your car and find one of those big yellow boots on your wheel so you can't drive off. The guy who started this whole thing decided enough is enough. So he found the key to getting free.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? I know I don't know, in my head, the boot is like way bigger than that, but that's probably because, I guess it's advanced over time or whatever. Like, I don't know. I have no idea. To me, that's much smaller than I was remembering in my head. But to be fair, if my parents were ever in the position where they had one of them boots, I don't remember. Like, at all. So that might also be why that, like, I don't have a real memory of it happening to like me or someone I know, so much as I've seen maybe a couple on the street. I've seen it in movies or TV shows or like on the news, right? Like, I've never seen it myself, so I don't know. But this is just mind-blowing. Like, this is literally mind-blowing. Yeah, you can 1,000%, if you can tap in to the source here, okay, and it's legal in your city, you can make a killing. A billion %. Like, I would 100% probably grab this, right? And just I don't know, give it, like, if it's not too expensive, right? I'd give it out to like friends, family, whatever. But okay, I know I'm putting the cart before the horse. Y'all don't even know exactly what it is. Let's keep going. I'm just super excited. This is really cool.
Atlanta's tired of the boot. The people hate the boot.
Christian Verrett says he got booted in Atlanta's parking lots one too many times.
I figured out, hey, you can make a key and you can sell the key. You can duplicate the key.
So that's what he did. He started selling master keys to the boots online, $50 each.
These 4 will cover 90, maybe 95% of the boots in Atlanta.
Dude, $50 each? $50, that's it, and you need 4 that will cover about 90 to 95%. I mean, sure, they'll just jack up the percentage that they're using of the other 5 to 10%, but like, let's be real, the large majority are still going to use one of those. So that means for like $200, you could just buy all 4 and just have them, right? Like, you could just buy this for like families or for groups of friends, for college dorm sets, right? And then you just kind of have it just in case. Now, what I think is absolutely crazy about this, absolutely crazy, is the fact that someone thought to do this. Like, bruh, what do you get booted for? You get booted for like parking tickets, right? Why don't y'all just pay your damn tickets? Like, either don't park illegally, don't get the tickets, right? But if you do, pay the damn ticket. Like, this is a case, they don't boot you because you have like one unpaid parking ticket. Again, I don't know. This is mostly coming from TV and movies and stuff. I gotta keep it a buck, right? But like, normally people are getting booted because they have hundreds and thousands of dollars of unpaid tickets, right? And I'm like, dude, Buddy got tired of having to be in this predicament. Bruh, how many tickets did you get? Like, you have to think about it, because before he had the solution, it means he would get a boot, he'd finally pay off the fines enough to be able to get the boot removed, right? And then he would just rack up more fines. Why don't you just not rack up the fines? Like, bro, people ain't shit. Real talk. That's just what it is. People ain't ish. That's it. Okay, let's keep watching. What is...
Maybe about 6 or 7 companies that boot. There's a few really big companies that have the majority of the contracts. I have all of their keys.
He says he's been doing it for the last few months, and so far, he says he sold about 600. How did you get the prototype of the key?
That's a trade secret, so I can't tell you that, but it was hard work.
Verrett tells me this is just a passion project on the side and he's not in it for the money. Actually, he says his end goal is to be put out of business.
I want the boot banned overall. You know, this is really just to raise awareness about getting the boot banned.
A bill at the state capitol to do just that failed this legislative session.
Well, maybe it's because folks like this get boot after boot after boot because they think that the laws and the rules don't apply to them. So they think that, you know, even though it's illegal for them to park in this place or to do this, they're going to do it anyway, right? And then when they get ticketed fairly because, hey, this is against the rules and you're not supposed to do it, and we have to penalize you in the hopes that you'll stop doing this thing, right? Instead of just paying that off and saying, bad me, won't do it anymore, right? They just get more, they just say, just keep accumulating and accumulating because those rules don't belong to them, right? It doesn't apply to me. When I do it, it's cute. And then when the boot gets put on their car, they're like, what? This should be illegal. Are you guys serious? Yeah, no wonder they won't outlaw the boot because realistically, y'all are already proving that even with the boot, y'all do not care. You don't care. You don't care to follow the rules, nor do you care to pay the fines when you are caught not following the rules, when you and your car do something disruptive to civility. Why in the world would they take away the one thing they've got hanging over your head, which is that stupid boot, right? Why would they take that away? Why? Okay, someone's gonna have to explain this to me. I know, I'm sounding like evil dictator Ruby, but really, I don't get it. Okay.
Now he's calling on Atlanta's mayor and city council to ban the boot in city limits.
In the meantime, this is the people's only alternative. And honestly, I don't care if the business fails. I'm here just to help the people out.
And one of the biggest questions I had is this legal? I asked APD. They say yes, it's completely okay to have one of these keys and bust yourself out of a private lot.
Hold on. We really have to deal with this. Right. I want y'all to listen to what he says.
City council to ban the boot in city limits.
In the meantime, this is the people's only alternative.
This is the people's only alternative. If only there was another alternative, right? Like the government boot bandits who just go around and randomly boot cars and say, ha, we picked you at a random. Now you've got to pay money to get rid of the boot. Random. There is no way to escape this. God, it's the only people's only option is to buy these keys. If only there was some way to escape the boot. To never ever have the boot to begin with. If only there was some other way. Well, at least for now, you've got Buddy here, and he's offering you the only option. Like, what? I don't know. I might sound crazy here, but do you think either not racking up the parking infractions and fines would be a better way to go, and B, that if you rack up those parking infractions and fines, that paying that money to the tickets might be the better way to go, or showing up in court and battling the tickets if you think that they're unfairly applied to you. But no. This brilliant man, and I'm gonna say that he's brilliant. His marketing is just because people will be like, "Yo, this is my only recourse." No, it's not. Just, bro, well, how much are your tickets? It'll be like $150. Why don't you take the $150 and pay your tickets? Nah, man, I'm gonna buy these keys. I could get 3. Okay, sorry.
Honestly, I don't care if the business fails. I'm here just to help the people out.
And one of the biggest questions I had is this legal? I asked APD. They say yes, it's completely okay to have one of these keys and bust yourself out of a private lot. They say the only 2 ways you can get in trouble are if you steal the boot or damage it. In Atlanta.
Amazing. So the only ways you can get in trouble when it comes to the boot is if you damage the boot in any way, or if you steal it. So if you buy a key or steal a key, well, let's say buy a key, but if you get access to a key somehow to remove the boot from your car without damaging it, and then you leave the boot where your car once was, then you've done nothing wrong. Incredible. That is absolutely amazing. So it is not illegal to remove the boot from your car. Now, again, like this is why I said at the beginning, right? You're gonna have to check with your city and state, whatever, because I don't know. I don't know if this is like an America wide thing or whatever, right? But in Atlanta, it's not illegal to remove the boot. It's just not. Just don't damage the boot. So it's not illegal. If you have tens of thousands of fines or thousands of fines, thousands of dollars in fines, yeah, for $200, you have a 95% chance of being able to just take this boot off of your car without incurring more debt, damage, or, maybe criminal. I don't know, criminal filings for some type of destruction of property. Bro, this one was funny. This was absolutely hilarious. Listen, I'm just saying, some of our peoples, for example, maybe Shar, might have a pension fund that they would like to start a business so that they could build themselves up a pension. This might be the way, because this is absolutely brilliant. It's horrible / terrible, but brilliant at the same time. If y'all have a hookup, email us so we can pass the information along to the correct people. That's all I'm saying.
This is probably one of the funniest stories. Like, just everything about it was just one of those, like, are you serious? This can't be serious. The lawmakers aren't serious, right? Everybody ain't ish, okay? Everybody. Humanity ain't ish. So you go make it legal to put the boot on people's car until they pay off that debt, right? But you also going to make it equally legal for people to just take the boot off of the car. And then people are going to rather pay. They're going to rather pay the money for these keys than just, I don't know, say pay their parking debts. Zal, explain the American mindset to me, because I don't get it.
It's America is simple. It's an easy concept. The young white boys do this all the time. So instead of their kids going to jail for doing random things, as long as you don't damage government property, you are perfectly fine in taking the boot off, because young white boys been doing it for years.
That is true.
I'm just being honest. Like, everything young white boys do, it is completely legal.
Mm-hmm.
If young black boys do it, crime goes the crime 20 years. Young white boys slap on the wrist, don't do it no more.
That's true. That is true.
They might
Except for street racing. Street racing is a white boys thing, and yet it is illegal, and they are cracking down on this. That's the only one.
Oh, that's because they turn over a lot, and it's over with when they turn over, and they parents. So their parents do not let them do this. Do not let them do this.
Mm-hmm.
Same way. I'm just saying. That's the way Andrew Tate got banned off the internet. A white woman went to their governor and said this man cannot be on the internet. When some they feel like damaging to their kids, it gets a law, and if they don't, if it helps their kid, it's perfectly free. So shout out to my brother creating a business that's completely legal that he probably had no clue if it was illegal. He's just like, hey, I'm finna make a bag.
Mm-hmm.
Did they say how much he was selling them for?
So they're $50 each. He has 4 keys in total. Okay. Those 4 keys, if you have all 4 keys, that would cover about 90 to 95% of the boots out there on the market currently. So there's no way. I mean, I'm sure he has a way of knowing which one, because there's different companies and different companies use different boots, but he's not going to tell you that. So basically, for $200, you get 4 keys and a 95% chance you'll just be able to take that boot off, no problem. And he sold 600 of them so far.
Yeah, you can get a key made for like $10. That's a $40 increase on your revenue. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. And you cornered the market, and this is why, like, they asked him, like, oh, so where'd you get the key from, bro? And he's like, I ain't telling y'all that, because that's really where the market is. The market is, do you know anyone who has one of those keys? If you don't, it's not like you could do it yourself. So you're going to pay the outrageous premium because you can't do it yourself, right? So that's why I said it's brilliant. It is brilliant. So I feel like we could all come together. Okay. Listen, that's all. Legally, for research purposes, if y'all know a guy, just email us. I'll be that news@gmail.com. Right? But it's just for research purposes, I swear. It's just research.
I might know a guy, but he kind of hot right now, so we're gonna leave it alone. Speaking of kind of hot, France was supposed to be high after World War II, but they're not. So let's listen about this strange theory that's actually real.
I'll put this.
We're back with another Zales theory, and of course we have to give you a theory that might be a little truth in it. Might get in trouble. Might be a little dangerous. They might tell you to take it down. But I want to show love to the casting report. We are not going to watch the whole video. They have 1.3 million subscribers. We're just going to interact to certain parts of it. We're going to interact with certain parts of it just so you can get the basis of what's going on. Basically what the story is, quick rundown, is that the French basically financially own 14 countries in Africa. They own all the ports. They own all of that. And they forced them to use their money and their currency, even though, as we're going to see, they look completely different. He's going to explain it much better than me. But at the end of the day, what they are doing is simply having a safeguard in the African empire, in which makes them still somewhat of a superpower. They're not a superpower, but it makes them relevant. So we're going to go over how imperialism and colonialism is still around today on Zell's theory.
Yet they are part of the same scheme, a scheme that pegs both currencies to the euro, a rate determined by the French treasury. The issue at stake is the apex of French policymaking, the CFA franc. Using it, France controls the monetary sovereignty of 14 nations, making up nearly 200 million people. These countries include Benin, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Chad, Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Guinea-Bissau, Ivory Coast, Mali, Niger, Senegal, Togo, and the Central African Republic. And while these nations have a seat at the United Nations and wave their independent flags, it is only the face of imperialism.
They are assumed independent countries. We're gonna see a little later. I'm gonna skip around the video. We're not gonna play the whole video. If you want to watch the whole video, go to Casper Report. It's very interesting. We're only gonna skip around about 3 minutes of the video, but I just want y'all to get mostly the point of this video. I just want y'all to get his response to this.
That has changed. The conduct of business has largely remained the same. The big difference is that imperialism used to be spread through tanks. Nowadays, it comes through banks. Speaking Africa, with new power came new extrajudicial perks. Paris gained access to African labor and raw materials at sub-market prices, while finished goods were sold back to Africa at above-market prices. French neo-colonialism was so intrusive, so ruthless, so unique that it earned a name of its own, France Afrique. Follow its French counterpart at a rate of
this is after this. This is right here. I want to skip this part because this is directly after World War II and how they actually used it. Because most of the time it wouldn't be important, but they actually used it. So I'm gonna go to after World War II and when they were trying to recover their economy and why it's important they have African style stuff going on.
Its colonies to adopt it. Initially, the CFA franc was pegged to its French counterpart at a rate of 1.7 to 1.
That's the one the Africans use.
In 1948, it was increased to 2 to 1. By overvaluing the CFA franc, Paris maintained its economic advantage while crushing Africa's export competitiveness.
That's what they do.
So in a way, France built its post-war recovery partially to a wealth transfer from Africa. Even so, the most effective forms of control are those that are invisible.
Invisible?
Recognizing this in
Captain
1958,
Report so good.
France hijacked authentic decolonization by installing local
I
collaborators
go over this
and
part right
granting
here.
them statehood. These collaborators became the custodians of France's neo-colonial empire by maintaining the Franc zone and French military bases. Only Guinea turned down the offer. Its leader,
Notice they turned it down. Hey, listen, imperialism, when you turn stuff down, there's consequences.
Secretary, declared that his people preferred being poor in freedom than rich in slavery. Guinea thus rejected the CFA franc,
Watch what they
seeking
do to 'em.
develop its own currency. France felt it needed to make an example of Guinea, so it cut pensions to war veterans,
Oh my
dismantled Guinea's power grid,
Destroyed
and
it.
then attempted to block its UN membership.
Can't even go to UN.
France went as
You got
far
no
as to
protection if
induce
somebody want to take you over.
hyperinflation by flooding the country with counterfeit bills.
That's what they do.
All the while funding armed anti-government resistance.
Funding
Yeah,
ops.
it got pretty
Don't even
crazy.
see somebody
The plan
fund
ultimately
Al-Qaeda,
failed to
American.
dislodge
You know what they
Secretary, but Guinea's economy never fully recovered. Likewise, when Togo had a change of heart and sought to ditch the CFA franc, France made another example, this time without loose ends. Togo's leader, Sylvanus Olympio,
Listen to this.
was assassinated in January 1963. French involvement is suspected, but
We don't do speculation over on it. I mean, or I'll be there. We don't do speculation on none of that. But one thing we will do, we will talk about how it affect the banks. That's one thing we will talk about though. Let's talk about some business side. Why it's so effective?
this benefit as much as the French treasury. More specifically,
Oh, for the business, I
France
skipped that
doesn't
mistake
need to
one.
draw on its foreign exchange reserves for African imports. Dozens of French multinationals are present in Africa, including Total Energies, Areva, and Vinci. Africa also grants France access to strategic resources like uranium, which is indispensable for France's nuclear energy sector, meeting 3/4 of French energy needs. Meanwhile, Gabon is a source of crude oil, Mauritania delivers iron ore, while Togo and Benin provide agricultural commodities. Additionally, the icing on the cake, French national Vincent Bolloré owns most of West Africa's
They own all the resources. These countries can be prosperous, but if France need resources, they take it because they own it.
major ports. It is thus not by incident that former French President
You gonna
Jacques
end this video off
Chirac
this?
once stated that much of the money in French banks comes precisely from exploiting Africa, and that France would lose its global standing without its African empire.
Let's end it off that. Without African empire, they would lose their standing in the world. Listen, this is how colonialism works. I actually hit the mic, so I hope it didn't buzz in y'all ear. If not, I'm gonna try to take it out. But that's what happens. Imperialism, that's what it is. That's what it looks like. If y'all want to know what imperialism looks like, the country wouldn't be great without its African influences. We own the ports, we own the resources, and if our country ever goes in trouble, we just take it. That's what happens, right? That's what happened in the businesses. Now, I did a video earlier. That what happened in business. Oh, we don't have the resources, we'll just call for bankruptcy and then get bailed out because we're too big to fail. We're interconnected with the world. If we fail, we just take it from the African countries. Why? Because the rest of the world needs us. We're not a superpower, but we're a power. If I'm France, that's the reason they justify it. They justify the bad things they do. They justify their ruling of the countries and all this other thing. They justify it through doing these means and all this stuff. And I just want y'all to understand, this is what happened in the world. 14 countries are run by France. So if you claim I'm going over there to be free, are you? Or are you going to a country that whenever colonialization needs it, they can just take it? I just want to update y'all that on a Zell theory. I appreciate y'all. It's not even really a theory, but shout out to Biggie Boss for sending me that video, letting me know the dark side of it. And by the way, shout out to Catchman Report. Watch the whole thing. It's scarier, and I just didn't want to go over that. That's just something I want to talk about on this show. But the whole thing and how crazy it is, how much they control this country, I just want the big part, is absolutely insane. So go check out that video. Link will be in the description. It is insane. I didn't even go over all of it. I just go over the part that's kind of important to us, and what it looks like is colonialization, but it's deep. I appreciate y'all. Back to y'all.
That was interesting. I can't hear you.
Okay, so frankly, what we knew happening, it just we actually have evidence to support to. Like somebody, like, y'all just got theories and y'all just be making up stuff, and oh, we see it happen. It happens. It's right there. I just made a video on it. It's there. Go read the Caspian report. Shout out to Biggie Boss for putting it to my attention. France screwing Africa, and you think they're the only ones? They all like, oh, we left back in the 1800s. No, they didn't. They just gave you a fake currency that's linked to our currency, and then when we need it, we just lower y'all currency up ours, and then you give us your resource. Matter of fact, we own all of your resources, your nuclear facilities, we own your oil, anything your country needs, we own it.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it is.
It's kind of scary, and don't think for some reason America the only dumb even though we do, trust me, we do own resources, but we gave up a lot to try to pretend we was a good guy. Don't worry, we'll get it back. We our military is literally the biggest in the world. Matter of fact, do you know how big our military is, Ruby?
How big is it? I don't know. I mean, it felt like that was what we were supposed to know. Okay.
We outspend the next 13 countries combined. From 2nd to 14th place, America outspends all of them combined.
Mm-hmm.
And once
that makes sense.
So military-wise, people are like, oh, our military is soft and weak. No, our military, it's a reason why we tell everybody what to do. Now,
you don't. I have to clarify this because, like most Americans, Zell has things bigger confused with better, or more expensive also confused with better. Okay, these are not synonymous words. So just because you spend more money overtly, and again, let's be real, how much of the black hole that is the military spending budget actually goes to the military? Who knows? Because it's a giant black hole that has no accountability. But beyond that point, though, and let's just be real here, right? Is that even if every drop of the billions and billions and billions of dollars went to the military, that doesn't mean better. It doesn't. So much so that, you know what, like, again, the reason why America is not in war with Canada is because America was scared of us. Again, the Avro arrow, proving that bigger or more expensive is not better, to the point where America was so scared of the Avro arrow that they, in fact, had to make basically like an unlimited peace accord with us, okay? Just to get us to not use the Avro arrow and to promise to never use it against America. Bigger is not always better. And overt, in-your-face nonsense flash that America does
big
not
and flash
mean better.
Big and flash works. I'm just
listen, we're not in the military debate right now. If we were, I would suggest that if you have agencies like, say, Homeland or the CIA or whatever, to, you know, do secret ops or to keep your country safe and doing secret things, then maybe you should allow those things to be a secret, like other really intelligent first world countries do. Not going to name any names, but you know,
Americans, we brag. That's all we do. We're stupidly braggadocious.
I know, and all to your down again, braggadocious for no reason. Bigger is better. Wasting money, flushing it down to it for no reason doesn't mean it's better. I'm just saying, we keep it a buck, because you know what I noticed is America has less water and is about to run out of water very soon. And
gave it all Saudi Arabia because our government is stupid.
So that's the point. That's my point. That's my point. Is that America still has to sell off their water. Okay, they have to sell off their water. So bigger is not clearly not always better, right? Because Canada has way more water availability for like thousands of years, and guess what? We also don't have to sell off our water, and yet somehow or another we have a whole bunch of secret, scary stuff that makes people like America not really want to mess with us. So Just saying.
I got True Day up there. Joe Biden
Just
tougher.
saying.
Speaking of crazy Karens like Trudeau and Biden, we have a video we're gonna watch together.
Now, I gotta clarify this, okay? Everybody watch. That's what I have to say. And the reason why I'm saying it like that is because I needed Zell to see this video. I wanted his actual face, y'all to see his immediate reactions, listening to what this male Karen really believed. He said it with his whole chest. And what's amazing is he's not an American Karen, okay? So he speaks English, right? But he's from a different country, saying it with his whole chest, knowing everything about Black Americans and America in general, enough to let us know just how privileged we Black people in North America really, really are. And so we're going to listen to that, then we'll talk about the factors after, I guess. Or, we could pause it through. Let's pause it through. But yeah, go ahead, Zell. Go ahead. You can pause it as you wish.
Shout out to the intro.
I love this. I'm so talented. I'm just saying.
Big ego.
Black Americans are one of the most privileged people in the world, and we have to talk about it more. Here's the average salary in Mexico, in Ukraine, in Egypt, in Vietnam, all big countries with huge economies from different continents. And here is average welfare check in USA. You see the difference?
Pause it right there. Pause it right there.
Wait. Did he just say we get...
Go ahead.
Do they realize that white Americans get like a huge sum of welfare check?
Bro, they made welfare for white people, just all from jump. But let's forget that for 1 second to talk about the difference between the check versus the cost of living, right? Because if the cost of the average welfare is $617, what's the average cost of living in America? Find me one of the states that the average cost of living per month is $600.
You can go to maybe Alabama and get you in a rundown little 1-bedroom apartment for about $500, and maybe you can buy food with the rest of $100.
Right, and since the average, right, and see that's the thing, right? So people don't think about that. It's like, dude, the cost of living in America is crazy. You can't do things like you have to pay for water, right? You can't just have your own land with your own stuff growing and your own little well, and so you've got the basics covered, and then this money's for everything else. Like, even if you own land, you've got to pay taxes on the land. They tell you can't collect and drink rainwater. They tell you that you can't this, you can't that. Like, what? That's $617 versus $609. Like, when you look at the actual real cost, and like, bro, and then that's not even looking at inner city, like where you don't even have land, where you have no access to anything. You gotta buy everything, and they don't even give you grocery stores because you live in a food deserts as Black people or as poor people. Like, right there, he's already showing how ignorant he is. But trust me, he's gonna keep saying it with his whole chest. Just watch.
$275 will get you on the street, even in the state of Mississippi, which is like one of the cheapest states to live in. You just be living on the side of the road.
All over the world have to work hard for this money, while people in America are getting more for doing absolutely nothing, just because they are born in the United States. Isn't that a privilege? Being richer than others just because of your birthright? Yes, it is. Oh, and just to be clear, it concerns all Americans, not just Black Americans. All Americans are privileged as hell, and it's about time we acknowledge that Black Americans are no exception. Now, just imagine being born in Harlem, New York, one of the richest cities in the world, in one of the richest countries in the world, and complaining about not being able to get out of the ghetto, while some Middle Eastern refugee has to smuggle himself to America illegally in a cargo bay of the ship, not having home, not having money, not having citizenship, just to get the slightest chance at life that you had since birth.
Bro!
And he's running from his country because your country destroyed his home, by the way. And he still somehow manages to open up his own business so he can provide for his kids.
Okay, no. Pause. No. First of all, I am from the immigrant class, okay? I'm from the immigrant class. So I'm going to say this because this is a reality. The reality is that immigration doors open and close for various countries at various times. And they do not let in these poor, abject poverty souls, like to some massive amount. Okay, the majority of people they let in are hardworking or even wealthy in their country of origin, right? And then on top of that, they also have the wealth of their wealthy connections and whatever, right? And then that's why they own stores and da 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 da. We're not talking the people who came in on boats and this and that, all this stuff he's talking about. Those are not the people, the immigrant class who own stuff in stores and all that stuff. Like it's just like a thing. Oh, they just tightened up their bootstraps and like, no, that's not what happened. First of all. Second of all, I really like though how he made sure to talk about the difference between willing versus unwilling immigration, right? Because it's one thing if you are willing to immigrate, whether it's on a dangerous boat kind of thing, situation that you created for yourself, or on a plane like normal people. But then there's the whole transatlantic slave trade, where people were also on boats, really dangerous trek. Hundreds died per crossing of the ocean. And let's not forget that no freedom for 400 years, right? So there was no choice here. You got snatched out of your homeland. They stole your culture. They stole your language. They stole your right to be a person. They decided to make you basically no better than cattle. And you're going to try to compare people who literally are just living out the wreckages of that now, right? And have been people who've been free for less time in America than they were enslaved in America. And you're going to sit there and act like that's somehow comparable, as though the way that America treats Black people now has no bearing on anything. Never mind, like, it's not like slavery ended and then it was just like, okay, we done now. Okay, everything's cool going forward. We're not going to mess with y'all. Black Wall Street, we're not going to burn that down. We're not going to redline. We're not going to bankrupt 80% of the middle class, using predatory home loans. We're not going to do any of that to Black people because, never mind guns and drugs in the inner cities. We're not going to do that because we care, right? I'm sure that's, again, wow. Like, it's like he just has blinders on. I don't get it. What is he talking about?
Listen, America, okay, country, is you if you get it, you get it. It's amazing once you figure it out. A lot of people you mentioned, like, they're in the richest city in Harlem. Sir, it's when I go to most of y'all countries overseas, y'all send me to the touristy spots, right? In France, there's a whole little section in France that is very poor that no one goes to. I'm just letting y'all know it's a little boondoggle that no one goes to. All these countries have that. Harlem has that as well. It is a place that even you as an immigrant will not move to. It's a certain part of Chicago that a lot of my family live in. You will not move to. I can guarantee you. Go and put your store there, sir. All these people you show, look at, they made a store. Put your store in that neighborhood. I'm just saying, unless you got bars and got money to pay the police to actually protect you. That's me just dissing Chicago. But again, you say this.
Sorry, sure.
And then, hey, I got a lot of family in Chicago. I'll be there. But you say this, and I realize I'm one generation away from a sharecropper. My father was a sharecropper. He got literally worked the whole year and got 25 cents. So don't you tell me, who is privileged, just because somehow we figure out how to make it once we get out. Because a lot of people didn't. Because a lot of people still living off that generation of sharecroppers in the South. Just want you to know, because just because you see now we a little more blessed, we still going through a lot. You see it on TV. But just because we're a little more blessed than we was 20 years ago, don't mean everything is just privileged.
Right.
Let's continue.
Really? Man, maybe take a subway? And please, don't give me that excuse about America being racist. Here's the list of richest households in the United States by ethnicity. White people are not even in top 5. It's Indians, Filipinos, Taiwanese, Sri Lankan, Japanese, and then some. How could they all be so prosperous if the country is so racist? Look, America is literally the least racist country in the world. Can you name any other dominantly white country that had black president for 2 terms in a row? No, you can't, because I can guarantee you the rest of the world is actually racist as hell. You're living in the paradise of political correctness. Oh, and it might seem like I'm talking to black Americans here, but I'm not. I know that majority of black Americans don't even care about it all. I'm talking to crazy Americans. I'm talking to Americans who actually believe that their country is some racist, villainous hellhole that oppresses people. It's not. Look, your country is all right, I promise. So yeah, you had slavery. Who didn't? Now really, tell me, who didn't? So you have racists in your country, and who
No
doesn't?
one had chattel
No, really,
slavery.
name a single...
Wait.
No one had chattel slavery. What do you mean?
Most slavery, fun fact, even in European countries, you can actually work off. America, you couldn't, unless you was in certain states, some states, but most states, specifically where I'm from. It's a reason why everybody went north. I'm just saying.
Country without racists. I'll wait. Stop focusing on yourself so much. This is destructive narcissistic tendency that destroys your country. You have 2 kind of whack jobs in USA. First kind thinks that you can invade any other country in the world because you're force of good. And another kind thinks that you can appropriate culture and history of any other country in the world and paint it black because you're the force of evil and you have to constantly atone for your sins.
Wait. Did he just show like you do realize a lot of them Roman fighters were actually... do people think that black people didn't live in Europe at all?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, what do y'all think Morehouse got the name More? Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
that's a prominent family that was black that was in Europe during the Middle Ages. The Moore family. Look it up. It's a very interesting story.
Before black people. Well, guess what? You don't get to do any of those things. Keep your greedy hands off Middle Eastern oil and European history. Oil is black, white history figures are not. You're not villains, but you're not heroes either. You're just regular people.
So butthurt
just
about
regular
Cleopatra,
people
bro.
who are born into insane privilege the rest of the world can only dream of. And that's exactly why.
Bro. Like, that's it. Now, listen, right? We have to, because this is the thing, right? The fact that he even, half of the things he said in and of themselves and half of his stupid belief systems are so racist, right? Which just proves that he doesn't even understand what racism is, okay? Like, just from that, he doesn't even understand what racism is. Then, when he listed the 2 kinds of problems with America, he not only demonstrated his own racist biases and tendencies, right? But he also literally didn't list the racists because he said, oh, no, he basically tried to talk about America like they're Canada, right? Canada wants to go into everywhere and help everybody. Okay, that's Canada. America doesn't want to help anybody. America sees everyone else as some type of lesser human type form that, anyway, the point is they're living on this land that has these resources we want. So we can just go take it because, you know, they're not like people, right? That, like, in and of itself, there's like a inherent built-in racism to colonialism, right? And we know that that's what's there, and yet somehow or another, that's not racism. That's them wanting to help people out, and that's the toxicity. So the toxicity is those of us who recognize that racism is certainly actually still hurting us in the 21st century, right? And then the do-gooder white people, like he literally just said a bunch of great things about white people and then just said black people are a bunch of crybabies. And there's no racism. We're in a post-racial society, apparently. That is do you think we're in a post-racial society, so?
Listen, I'm all against the victim mindset that people have started to create. Let me move back so I can. But at the same time, ignoring truths, you can't ignore truth because you have to accept what you have to go against once you get out of that mindset. But okay, the world has this against me. Okay, I have to figure out around this. Ignoring it doesn't help your life. Pretending it doesn't exist don't help you. If a man up the road with a gun and he's shooting people and you be like, oh, nothing good, I'm just going to the store, chances are something bad might happen to you. I'm just saying, just because like, oh, they far away, they up at the store. I can go to the store, he'll be done by the time I come. That doesn't make sense. You see what I'm saying? And like we live in this, like we live where people try to ignore human nature and human things.
Mhm.
It's a thing I might do tomorrow, Saturday, about Ebony K. Williams when she was like, "Oh, I don't care about facts or feelings." Sometimes when you're trying to lead people, you have to care about feelings, even though you need facts. And sometimes people have to get their feelings hurt. So if you're telling the truth, I would be with you, but you're not. You're just leaving out the fact that everyone, your country is privileged. Let's say we're more privileged than kids in Africa. Okay, that's perfectly fine. But but when everybody around you is getting it, and you're in that environment, it's harder to be happy.
True, but also, if the reason why the kids in Africa are not, doing as hot is because, in essence, colonialism.
France.
Right, exactly. In essence, because white people are racist and see Africa and Africans and the descendants of Africans as a lesser life form that they can use, abuse, discard at will, basically, right? Then what you basically said is, oh, I see exactly what problem y'all are talking about. It's all over the place. I'm just refusing to acknowledge that it's also happening in America. I'm just refusing, outrightly refusing. Wow.
Let me put it like this. Put a black child and a white child next to each other and give the black child a lot of things and watch how the white child react.
Mm-hmm.
Do that experiment. Watch how much he whine because he's not getting the toys that the other kids get.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the same room. But if you put two childs in two different houses far apart and they can't see each other, again, that child might not cry. But you put them right next to each other and say, here's everything. We're handing it to you. And you just got to make it yourself. Here's a rattle. You got to make your own rattle. The white kid not going to respond that well. That's just human nature.
Well, no. And I mean, that's why you have, what's her name? That's been doing the blue-eyed, brown-eyed thing with her classes, right? And now she just runs it as like an experiment for kids of all ages, adults, workplaces, whatever, to experience what racism is really about. If there's not but she used blue eyes versus brown eyes because all the kids are white. So this was a way of being able to just divide up the class and for you to figure out what it would really feel like for you to just be disadvantaged. Based solely on something that has nothing to do with your character, with your personality, with your anything, right? It has nothing to do with your merit. It's just something you can't control, the color of your eyes. And to watch how that affected those kids, it's crazy.
True. And I see Char got the fuchsia tongue out.
Yes,
so
Jane.
let's talk about that. Let's go over that.
Tongue out.
Nope, it's right now. It's about to come on. Let me. Oh, it's ready. All right.
OVR.
Small promo time. At the same time, I want to joke about something, but Ruby would be upset if I did, so I'm not gonna do it. But I do want to talk about the story. Now, this first part of this promotion, you see the I'll Be That News Twitter. Go follow that. Go follow the TikTok. Go follow the Facebook. I'll Be That News. Or just look up Wazam Pre. Wazam mean what's up, and y'all know what pre means. So go look those up. We on TikTok. We on Rumble. We on all the anything you are more comfortable on. But I'm on Twitch more. I'm on Facebook more. I'm on Rumble more. Any of that site, go follow. This is the Twitter, the Instagram, all of that stuff. Go follow. And here we got a reel up from Try Jesus from our previous podcast. We got the link to the link tree. And this is the story. Of course, there's me, 99 underscore Zelma. You can follow me too. Or Zelma underscore 99. I'll probably be more willing to answer on one or the other. But this is a shout out to Say Cheese and the New York Post. Now, as y'all can see, oral sex is fueling an epidemic of throat cancer, doctors warn. Those with 6 or more lifetime oral partners are 8.5 times more likely to develop oropharyngeal cancer. I can't say that word, but please, any doctors in chat, correct me on how to do it. But that is the thing we're going to. So we're going to talk about the New York Post article. As you can see, it's saying the same thing. The doctors warn. Let's go, Dara. Let's learn a little more. Let's get more in depth. Shout out to Say this is the New York Post. So go hit up New York Post. Go follow them. According to Hisham Mahana, a professor at the Institute of Cancer and Genomic Science at the University of Birmingham. By the way, that's a very well-known place, especially in sports science and things. The human papillomavirus is to blame. For oropharyngeal cancer, the main risk factor is the number of lifetime sexual partners, especially oral sex, he wrote for the convention Tuesday. Cases HPV linked to oropharyngeal cancer, I'm going to call it O cancer, a type of throat cancer, rose annually by 1.3% in women and 2.8% in men in 2015 2019 in men. That's a lot of, okay. The CDC estimate that 70%, rose 2.9% in men, of O cancer, which affects the tonsil base of the tongue and back of the throat, are caused by HPV infections in the U.S. Back of the throat. I ain't gonna do the joke. I'm gonna do a joke for Ruby. By the way, if y'all saw the intro, the new intro is telling you what this is. Past studies have shown that multiple sexual partners can increase the risk of catching HPV and in turn develop mouth cancer, throat cancer. Listen, we learned that here. That's what we're here to do. This might be more dope. That's why this going at the end, because this might be a little more dope. Kids sleep, hopefully. I'm just letting y'all know it get a little dark. Y'all see the intro. Put the kids to bed. In 2021, researchers discovered that people with 10 or more oral sex partners were more than 4 times more likely to develop HPV-related mouth and throat cancers. According to the data from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, 41% of teens from 15 to 19 participated in oral sex. Young people ages 15 to 24 were responsible for nearly half of the 26 million new STDs in 2000. What? What? Young people ages 15 to 24 were responsible for nearly half of the 26 million new STDs infection in 2018. Listen, parents, I know y'all trying to be hard. Oh, let's just abstain. Y'all didn't abstain. Let's be honest. We older. Quit lying to your kids. Teach sex education. HPV is one of the most common sexual STIs affected and estimated 42 million Americans. In fact, it's so prevalent, according to CDC, that nearly all sexually active men and women get virus at some point in their life. Be honest. Put a 1 in the chat if you got it STI. No, you don't have to put your business out there. I'm just joking. Ruby gonna get mad at me if I play too much. Typically harmless, many people clear the virus on their own with no complication. The virus can lead to cervical or original cancer in some cases. However, a small number of people are not able to get rid of the infection, maybe due to a defect in a particular aspect of the immune system. In those patients, the virus is able to replicate continuously and over time integrate at random positions in the host DNA, some of which can cause host cells to become cancerous. A UK study discovered that the country's female-only vaccine regimen could significantly reduce HPV-related O cancers. Currently, the HPV vaccine is aimed at preventing reproductive cancer, although the CDC also said it does offer protection against the strains of virus that is also O cancer. Again, sex ed. The current guidance in the U.S. advises 11 and 12-year-olds to receive 2 doses of HPV vaccine, but individuals from the age of 9 to 26 are approved to receive it. Yet only 54% of adolescents have received a vaccine as of 2020. Listen, we learn something every day. Zell is teaching you something. Curious Zell, Zell is here to teach you. Put the kids to bed. We learning. Be safe. Get your vaccine, get your shots. Learn sex ed. Do everything you need to do to protect yourself from this cold, dark, scary world. And stop taking it in the back of the throat. Ruby, I did. I'm sorry. Um, get your vaccine. By the way, as y'all saw, most people it just go through most people, but some people develop a cancer if it replicate. If you get your vaccines, you pretty much, from the numbers we read and I've researched, is you're pretty much good. But be safe. Don't stay safe. Learn. Teach your kids. Grow up. Put the kids to bed. Unless they 12 and 13, they need to learn this too. Be safe out here. Be careful, y'all. Stuff with. Stop taking it back in the throat. Ruby, back to you. What's there? Oh, y'all.
Okay, Zell. So anyway, first and foremost, we are going to thank both Mama Rubes and Shar for also suggesting this topic this week. Now, y'all suggested it to me, so I did the topic separately, and Zell did this topic, and then we came together and went, oh, there's a whole thing here. But okay, so the actual release, when we release this story, it's going to actually be longer because there's going to be even more information, a couple extra clips. But for now, I'm going to show y'all something. And that's going to be my response here to Zell's presentation. So, because I don't understand y'all. And I want to be real. I don't understand y'all. I don't understand how this is new information to literally anybody. I honestly don't understand how this is new information to any of you. Have any of you ever watched a back to school special? I mean, fair, if you are from the South or from the Bible Belt, you might not have gotten adequate sex ed, or if you're just from, I don't know, the public school system in America, you also might not have gotten adequate sex ed. But for those of us in Canada, we should know, because we had adequate sex ed our entire lives. And so I knew certain things that apparently America doesn't and had to be told very recently. So let's take a look at this video, okay? And we're going to watch Degrassi, because America has mostly heard Degrassi. Now there's the original Degrassi, right? And then there's also Degrassi, The Next Generation, okay? Now Degrassi, The Next Generation, boss. Because this is Emma. Okay, if y'all remember in the original Degrassi, Spike got pregnant. She had a baby named Emma. This is Emma all grown up. Okay, and Spike, the actress, is still her mom in the show. It's awesome. Anyway, Emma, who's normally a good kid, right? She goes through this little rebellious phase where she's being Dark Emma, right? That's what I'm going to call her. She's Dark Emma. And so Dark Emma wants to go wild out. And so one of the things she's doing is she's wilding out by giving oral pleasure. Okay. And like, this is at the time, if y'all remember, there was like the sex bracelets and the sex parties and stuff. Was crazy. And so, you know, people weren't just choosing this one partner to partner up with, right? And so we're going to watch a couple small clips from this episode in particular. Okay. So this is Emma now. She literally was low-key almost begging to kind of hook up with this dude last night. And the dude said, my girlfriend is mad because she thinks I gave her something. And so I'm just not really feeling all jiggy, right? And I was like, I don't care. And he's like, dude, you're cold-hearted. Get out of here. I care, right? And so now this is the next day. She's coming to apologize about it. So let's listen to what she says.
About last night.
You all right?
Yeah. It's just a sore throat, that's all.
Just a sore throat, that's all. All right. Well, let's look at our next minute marker of the after school special that you guys apparently forgot to watch, but should be watching and making sure your kids watch from a very early age.
Yes. Oral sex is safer than regular intercourse.
Who believes that? That's what she asked.
Okay. We think there's been a mini outbreak here at Degrassi of this.
Gonorrhea? Sorry. Did I just say that out loud?
It's not a very nice word, is it? Gonorrhea. And how do you know if you have gonorrhea? Well, Some symptoms are genital discharge, bleeding, burning. Orally, you might get a fever or a sore throat.
Orally.
AM, you got something to tell us?
Shut up. And sometimes, those with the disease show no symptoms at all. Lucky, you might think. Think again. Untreated gonorrhea can cause arthritis, heart disease, infertility.
And most Black people know that because of incredibly unscrupulous things that have been done to Black people. Anyway, so let's leave prevention.
Recognize this? Good. If you've had any sex without using one of these, you are at risk. This applies to oral sex as well, especially if you've had it with a bunch of people, or if your partner has.
Right. So that's just from jump. Okay. Now that was gonorrhea. You can get any STD you can get in your genitals. You can also get your lips, your throat, whatever. Right. Like it's not. I don't know why no one taught anyone this. So I'm teaching y'all now. But trust me, it is definitely something that you need to know. And I'm going to just do this one little clip right here. Hold on. Because I mean, it's sad and embarrassing, but dude, it's also true. You should know these things. So Emma's acting a play, right? And it's like this like vampire. So vampires put, women under spell and whatever, right? And well, y'all just saw the situation there, right? He was supposed to kiss her, but he didn't, obviously. And the people, so see, there was Spike, right? And Snake from original Degrassi.
What have I done?
But anyway, they're confused, like, wait, why didn't the kiss happen? I don't get it.
What have I done to deserve such a fate? I, who have walked in meekness and righteousness all my days. God, pity me.
They're supposed to kiss. So Emma's like, what's going on, right?
You threw the scene. That was completely unprofessional.
I'd rather be that than diseased.
What did you say?
There isn't enough antibiotic in the world that would make me kiss you. And that little smooch in the hall the other day, who knows what I caught from that. Thanks so much.
Right, now here's the thing, right? So he was being super evil. They just learned this information. They're like middle schoolers at this time, right? But the point is that it's still true, right? And so you should, if you want to do oral sex, you can do it, definitely, but use a condom or a dental dam. So there is a way to protect yourself when giving oral sex to a woman. It's called a dental dam. It's like a sheet of condom, for lack of better words, right? And so there's ways to protect yourself because it's not, again, you can get HPV, right? Which is the one we're talking about now, right? But you can also get herpes, you can get gonorrhea, you can get chlamydia, and it will have similar effects or impacts, right? Including, obviously, HPV causes cervical cancer. Well, it also would therefore cause mouth and throat cancers. And I am going to, when we do the release of the long video, I'm going to actually show y'all why that is, because we know, like, it's been really well documented. So like, I don't understand why they're not teaching this, but ultimately, okay, there's a whole vaccine you can get to prevent you from ever catching HPV. Well, not all of them. There's like hundreds of different versions of warts pretty much, but it prevents you from catching a lot of the ones that would cause cancer, right? And you've got to take this before you caught it. Okay, so before you've ever been sexually active at all. And anyway, including, as we just saw here, kissing, right? Mouth to anything, right? And most people think, oh, well, I only went to third base. I'm safe. You're not safe, bro. You're not safe. So that's my response. And, got a shout out to everyone who wanted to actually do this topic because it is important. I just think it's sad that we somehow don't know this because we should. We're all grown, and this is not new information.
Yeah, may the 4th be with you, I would say. I don't know why I did it. I had to get it in there somewhere in the show, so I had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But we got a video, TikTok challenge story that's going on. We got to get to it. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, Shar. She know what I mean. Here we go.
Well, y'all, while they keep threatening to, destroy, remove, I don't know how you want to phrase it, but they keep threatening to do something to TikTok. But until they do, we're just going to have to talk about what TikTok is doing to everyone else. And so, first on our list today, it's going to be yet another TikTok challenge, because these social media challenges always go so well. Starting from the one where you're supposed to light each other or yourself on fire. Y'all remember that? You remember when challenges used to be like, ooh, ice bucket challenge? Yeah. Yeah, that's not what this is. Let's take a listen to our most recent stint of idiocy challenge, the Benadryl challenge. Because no one could have predicted this was dangerous and stupid.
An Ohio family is sounding the alarm in hopes of saving lives after a teenager died trying to complete a challenge on TikTok, taking large amounts of Benadryl. And now his family wants to change the law. It's called the Benadryl Challenge on TikTok. In the dangerous stunt, users take 12 to 14 pills of the antihistamine, Benadryl, in hopes of hallucinating. Jacob Stevens tried it with friends filming, but instead of hallucinating, it caused his body to have a seizure.
No brain scan, there was nothing there. He said we could keep him on the vent. You know, he could lay there like that, but he will never open his eyes. He will never
breathe on his own. He'll never
do anything like that.
Smile. He'll never walk, talk.
Wow.
The FDA has warned about the challenge and saying it can lead to serious heart problems, seizures, coma, or even death, and has encouraged parents to lock up the drug. As for Jacob's family, they're now pushing lawmakers to impose age restrictions on medications like Benadryl.
And like the thing is, right, is that these challenges are not just dangerous for the time that they are at their peak. For example, right? Because younger generations every single day, new generations, new people are finding these challenges, some of which have been existing and passed from one social media platform to the next over and over and over again. I mean, for example, how many times do we have to hear about another blackout challenge gone wrong, another choking game gone wrong, right? For those of you who somehow, I don't know, live under a rock in a cave on Mars with your fingers in your ears and your eyes shut tight, so you missed it, I'll give you guys a little update on what that is as well.
For the Arroyo family, things haven't been the same since the devastating loss of their 9-year-old daughter, Ariane.
9 years old.
Sadness I see in
9.
my son's eyes to sing happy birthday to his sister at her grave. It's very hard for all of us. But this is the life now, like, we have to adjust to. We sat at a table of 4 chairs. We sit now at 3.
The parents speaking out exclusively to ABC News about a TikTok challenge called Blackout, in which children choke themselves until they pass out.
If you see something online and you see people framing it as fun or a challenge or something interesting, you're sort of gamifying the particular thing and decreasing people's perception of the risks.
Yep. Ariane Arroyo taking part in the fatal trend last February.
We just never thought there was a darker side to, what TikTok allows on its platform.
We don't want no other children out there to be the statistics of this situation again.
A TikTok spokesperson referring ABC News to a statement the company released last year about the challenge, saying it predates the platform and has never been part of a TikTok trend. We remain vigilant in our commitment to user safety and would immediately remove related content if found. Our deepest sympathies go out to the family for their tragic loss. The Arroyos now calling for justice. The grieving family filing a lawsuit earlier this month against TikTok.
This is a case about safety.
Really? Well, I'm just wondering though, right? Because this was less than a year ago. And there's multiple that were less than a year ago. Don't get it twisted. The choking game challenge, whatever it is claiming lives to this day, while TikTok does nothing about it. The Benadryl challenge is new. And guess what? Is definitely TikTok related. What is TikTok doing about the Benadryl challenge?
New this morning, a family in Ohio is pleading with parents to talk to their kids after they say the latest TikTok challenge caused the death of their 13-year-old son. Jacob Stevens died after.
This is what I want to know. I want to, because I keep hearing, right? It doesn't matter. And I understand we have laws in place to sort of protect these owners of these platforms, right? So that way we can have shared media platforms without the owners, the creators, whatever, taking the risk that if any one of the billions of people who are using the platform do something wrong, that it's their ass on the line, right? And I think that's fair. But at what point should we be turning around and saying, no, sorry, accountability, because we know that they have the algorithms, right? We know that they do the manipulation. We know that they are intentionally doing all kinds of things to manipulate the algorithm, manipulate what people are getting to access, manipulate what people get to see, right? We know that creators have been complaining for years on TikTok that basically Black voices and Black talent is being muted in favor of white talent that then picks up on something a Black creator has created already, and then they'll push the white creator copying the Black originator. Right? We know that TikTok is aware of these things and they're allowing these things. We know how pervasive and strong these algorithms are. Right? We know this. So why are we allowing any one of these platforms to pretend like, oh, I just plain didn't know about it? Why are we allowing this? We need to stop. We need to stop. Now, I don't agree personally that TikTok should actually be canceled, nor do I think it's really going to be like literally canceled to the point where there's no more TikTok because it got shut down in America. I don't believe it. I think that that's just a tactic because America wants all that information, all that data. The way China gets all the data, they want all the data too. That's what I think personally, not going to lie. But, right, what I do care about is that going forward, right, like social media is becoming an all inclusive, all pervasive type of thing, right? WeChat basically runs China. You can't get along in China without WeChat anymore, right? So and I think that is the direction that the whole world is trending towards, especially the developed world. So if that's the case, then it suggests to me that issues like this are something we really have to care about, right? Like, y'all listen, I have put off the TikTok challenge story for far too long. And sadly, in just the last couple weeks since the story was ready to go, we've had several new insane and incredibly dangerous to deadly incidences that have occurred. So we've got to get on this. We've got to get on this immediately. Let us take a look, y'all.
Now to this. She went from planning Christmas to planning a funeral. A local mom says her 12-year-old son is dead because of a TikTok challenge. And right now she has a warning for all of us. Winnie Dorch with the story you'll see on Just One Station.
This bright and upbeat little person, 12-year-old Tristan Casson, is now dead. His mom says all because of a TikTok challenge called Blackout, when someone holds their breath or suffocate themselves until they pass out.
These kids in the social media, they take stuff and they don't know the severity of it.
It was Tuesday night when she left the house to complete some paperwork nearby. It wasn't too long before she noticed her children were blowing up her phone. She answered, not knowing what she was about to see and hear.
He like, Tristan's dead, Tristan's dead. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And so he turned the camera around and I could see Tristan's face and like his lips was blue.
Richmond Heights police found him unresponsive in his home just before 9:30. He was taken to the hospital where doctors told Taylor Davis her son was gone.
We're sorry, Mom, but we did everything we could, but we couldn't bring him back.
Police are investigating Tristan's death as a suicide, but Davis says she doesn't believe her son wanted to take his own life.
I just couldn't wrap my mind around my son doing something like that, and he's always on TikTok.
Always on TikTok, learning new dances, having fun. This time around, she says he fell victim to a dangerous trend.
He had an excellent day on Tuesday and was looking forward to Christmas break and Christmas. I said, that's not a kid that doesn't necessarily want to be here and that's unhappy.
Davis hopes her son's story will help save heartache from another family.
The sad thing is, right, that you can only warn the parents and even the kids so much. The problem is that as long as TikTok allows these challenges to go viral and to go unstoppable in essence, they're going to keep coming. They're going to keep happening. That's just what it is.
It's a stunt so terrifying, they're calling it death diving. It's extreme belly flopping, and ouch, does it hurt. Especially when you jump into water from really high levels. It started in Norway, but now Americans are getting in on it, all to get views on TikTok. The higher the jump, the more the clicks. This guy is jumping off a roof into a pool, belly first. This video alone has nearly 44 million views. Watch as she throws herself off of a platform 81 feet in the air. Experts say definitely don't do it.
There's potential for a lot of injuries. Yes. They could crack a rib, their internal organs could separate, or they could actually get a concussion or knock themselves out and then
and then drown, right? So like here's the thing, right? And I want, like, I understand, right, when people like look at something like this, right, they're like, oh, it's so much fun, oh, it's just funny, oh, don't worry, it's just a belly flop, oh, we're just gonna laugh, and she's gonna come out, her belly's gonna be red, it's gonna be fun. Listen, it's not just water, okay? The faster you go at water, if y'all remember like science, right, like and even in a solid you have like moving particles, right? And the faster you're coming at water, though, right, the more that water is going to act like you are coming at cement. Yeah. So that in and of itself tells you that, and this is why sometimes people jump off a bridge. Let's say the bridge is really, really high up. So then when they land in the water, they die because it's like jumping and hitting cement. Not only that, but you can be stunned, right? And I remember that, learning that in like life-saving, whatever like that course is. I remember learning that though, that you can literally be stunned from a belly flop, from going into the water, like, you know, and going in flat ways, right? You can be stunned to the point where your body doesn't do something correctly. So for example, you'll be stunned and then you'll breathe in, even though you know you're underwater, you're supposed to hold your breath. Right? Or you could get pulled into an undertow and forget momentarily how to use your arms and legs in that pivotal moment where you could have gotten out of it and saved yourself. So like, it's a really, really, really dangerous, unsafe challenge. And especially because the thing is that in order for these challenges, for you to get attention with them, you have to keep one-upping yourself and others. Right? So you can't just, oh, I'll just jump into the pool, and then they'll jump in the pool, and everyone will jump in the pool, and then I'll use the diving board, and then everyone will use a diving board. Well, eventually, right, then it's a high dive, and then it's off of someone's house, and then it's, you know, off of this cliff, and then, you know, so you always got to one up to be able to get the clicks, the likes, the views, the clout, right? You can't just use like a normal jump, and that's really what the danger is here, because you can't just use a normal jump.
Idiotic social media prank, and it may just be. It's the latest idiotic social media prank, and it may just be the worst one yet. Knuckleheads sneak up on shoppers and put a bucket over their head. Then the pranksters run off, leaving their victim to wonder what the heck just
happened. Why? I mean, okay, fine. This is better than the challenge where they were randomly punching people in the face. 1,000% this is better than that, right? But it still leads one, like myself, to wonder, why are you doing this at all? Why are you doing this? Why? Is like, who came up with this? God, okay.
Happened, and who did it?
Did you hit me with a bucket?
No, really? Watch, he pranks him again. This dude also pounces with the bucket head challenge and quickly runs off. Then he has the audacity to return after taking off his sweatshirt. What does he do? He does it again. In some cases, the prankster tries to throw off their victim by also putting a bucket on their own head.
Seriously?
What?
Why you just put a bucket on my head?
Someone just put a bucket on my head.
Did they?
Yeah.
But when the bucket prank happened at this Target in Orange County, California, the result had serious consequences. A mom who was shopping in the baby aisle said when the bucket was put over her head, she was so frightened she collapsed, and the incident triggered a serious heart condition. Lana Clay Monahan says she was terrified.
I immediately freaked out.
Right, and that's the thing, right? You have to realize, I mean, kids don't realize this, right? They have really poor impulse control. They have really poor ability to fully assess the like how their actions are going to affect them or others. They have a really bad time with this. This is why I don't think that children should be charged as adults, right? But anyway, the point is that they have a very hard time saying, "Oh, hey, I would probably think this is funny. All of my friends and, you know, my general peer group and all my peoples on TikTok, they know what the hell this is. So therefore everyone must, right?" So they don't assess what would it be like if you didn't know what this was and you were a middle-aged person, maybe you were totally removed. It would never occur to you that this was a challenge. So what would it mean for you to suddenly be put in the dark, right? Like someone put something over your head and mouth, right? And then you're in darkness very suddenly. You know, where's your brain associate? Well, your brain's probably going to associate that with like every kidnapping show, TV, movie you've ever seen, right? So of course this happened. Oh, what a nightmare.
And started screaming, "Help, get it off of me."
The mom of 8-month-old twins says she went into shock.
I was disturbed to see a group of individuals laughing and filming me.
Engine 37, a seizure at Target.
She fainted, hit her head, and was rushed to the ER. Police obtained surveillance footage.
They do go into a baby section aisle. It does go off camera, but we are able to see all 4 individuals go into that aisle with the bucket. Several seconds later, they came running out of that aisle with no bucket. And then ran out of the store.
The mom put out this plea on Facebook, hoping to find her attackers. "Please help. I was violently assaulted." Not funny at all.
And I mean, and here's the thing, right? I mean, we're all human. I'm human. And I don't even like idiot humor. And there's a couple things I laughed at, right? So, like, yeah, we can get why it's funny to prank people. We can get why it is that, you know, it's like, oh, you want to be able to rise to the occasion and to be able to meet this challenge, right? I get it. I was young once, even now, I get it, right? But when there's an element of danger, right, and you're talking about surprise/shock, when you're talking about invading unwilling people's personal space and physically touching them or impacting them in some way, this becomes quite dangerous, right? And so now I'm talking about the danger to you, the TikToker, the content creator, the kid.
He's unrecognizable. Unrecognizable.
The latest TikTok challenge nearly killed a 16-year-old high school athlete.
The trend involves a lighter and a can of spray paint.
Natalie back now with what parents need to know.
And we need to know that can be a dangerous combination. A North Carolina teen was with his friends when they dared him to make a video featuring the so-called flamethrower challenge.
They all heard a big boom, and then Mason came, running out and started taking off his shirt.
The challenge that has teens lighting spray paint on fire put Mason Dark in the hospital with burns to over 70% of his body. He's not expected to get out of the burn unit for another 6 months. Tonight, we spoke with a parenting expert about what signs parents should look for to see if their child might attempt a deadly.
Dude, whatever they say is going to be bull. I'm going to keep it a buck. Because as long as platforms like TikTok feel no ways to capitalize off of the desperation and clout and the need to have multi-billion views in order for you to get sponsorship deals, because they do not pay their creators, let's keep it a buck, right? Then kids are going to keep doing this. There's nothing wrong with this kid. I mean, now there is, right? Now he's not going to get out of the burn unit for 6 months. You know what he has to do after that? Very, very painful, arduous, long-lasting physiotherapy. 70 to 80% of your body. Everything he thought about life, he's going to have to rethink. Everything he was pursuing, things like sports, gone forever. Like the nightmare that this is over some stupid TikTok challenge. Oh.
Trend.
It's very hard to know if your child is going to make a bad choice because good kids make bad choices.
Of course.
That said, because they have unprecedented access on these things,
right,
you as the parent need to be utilizing the built-in parental controls that come with whether it's an iPhone or an Android, and use monitoring technology so that if they have dropped a digital crumb of a hint that they're going to be doing something dangerous, at least you'll get an alert and then can take action.
Right, because it's on the parents to proactively stop their kids from both taking part in the challenges, but also even observing them, right? It's not on TikTok at all. And see, this is where I don't know what the answer is. I don't know. But what I do know 100% for sure, what I know 100% for sure, okay? Without a shadow of a doubt, I don't know the whole answer, but what I do know for sure is that we have got to change the laws so that way there is some responsibility and accountability. Because let's be real, parental controls are for things that kids get into that they shouldn't be getting into, but adults like to get into, right? That's what parental controls are for. But someone explained to me when and where parents and adults are interested in this kind of thing. They're not, right? This is for kids, by kids, geared towards kids, watched only to kids, peddled only to kids, right? So let's be real. These challenges are not being peddled to adults. They're not being supported by adults. They're just not, right? You're talking about, I'll say the college crowd and younger. And it depends on what the challenges are. The majority of the challenges, though, are being aimed at, preteens, tweens, young teens. And this is a problem. So yes, parents, there are parental controls. There's something called like the mirroring program. I went into, I think it was Twitter or Twitch, I don't know, right? And so, yeah, you've got to start setting these things up. You've got to be diligent. But really, on the other side, as a societal whole, we've got to do something because this is insane. And we cannot continue to allow these challenges every week or two to come and devastate a whole new population of children. And then, oh, well, TikTok's not responsible for any of it. Really? There's got to be some level of responsibility there. They shouldn't be able to profit solely. Because remember, they don't pay their creators. They don't pay these kids. So they profit solely, though. And they profit a lot. And you're trying to tell me they're not responsible for anything and none of their creators get paid? Okay.
Yeah, I said what I said from jump. And here's the thing, Dr. So that's why I made sure to put the 2 challenges at the beginning. There was the ice bucket challenge. That's what we used to do with buckets, right? Where you fill it with ice water. Ice water is something you pour it on yourself. It's hilarious to watch people's reactions. It's not dangerous at all, but it's still something. And then there was the challenge that was very, very stupid. And this was in our time also when we were like younger, right? I mean, social media, we were basically adults, but we were younger. And where we were told that you could light yourself on fire without hurting yourself, right? And every idiot wants to try it so they can go, yeah, oh my God, it actually works, right? So, I mean, I will say, yeah, in general, did we do half as stupid things? Were we constantly chasing the next stupid thing? No, right? But we did care about safety a little bit more, but then we would also make stupid decisions like, oh, they said I could light myself on fire, no problem. I've never heard of that before in my life, but the internet says I can, so let me try, right? Like, so, I mean, there's a balance there. There's a balance there. What do you think, Sal?
Listen, clout is a hell of a drug, and and people, they want it. They want it bad. Whatever to go viral. We want that viral moment. We'll do anything to go viral because it seems like it's money. It's the easiest way to get it. And that's what most people want. They don't want to do an earnest day's living. I want to go viral so I can be cool to my friends, which, let's be honest, a lot of us did want to be cool to our friends. So we'll do silly things. The only reason we did half those channels so we can look cool, but it was never to the extent where we'll look on the internet because most of us, let's be real, but social media wasn't really a thing till we was in for me, high school. So you didn't have to really appease no one on the internet. And then there was MySpace, and the only drama we had was if you took your friend out of the top 5, and then they'd be really mad at you. So I'm not your top 5 friend. I'm like, listen, I got a girlfriend. She had to move up. I don't know. You was 5, so you'll move back when she gone. So you had to explain that. So it wasn't really. That's the most dangerous thing I did. Hey, listen, we safe over here. You know what I'm saying? Even though I almost did blow up the chemistry lab, but that's because I just wanted to see if I can make something blow up. Steve Urkel influenced me. I blame Steve Urkel. Can I sue Family Matters?
Oh, you did do equally stupid things. Good to know. Okay. At least we all know the way Zell measures things. I didn't do anything this stupid. I mean, sure, I tried to blow something up, but that's just because I wanted to see if I could blow something up.
I promise
Not for
Mr. Butler was lying to me, and I know he was, but he wouldn't let me do it. I'm like, you telling me if I just miss hydrogen, and what was it? Something else in this bottle that is going to blow up the whole half of the school. You are a liar. This little bitty tube is going to blow up half the school. I didn't believe it. He never let me do it though.
I can't imagine why.
Hey, listen, hydrogen and I forgot what the other one was. Hydrogen and something else. I'm like, he didn't let me do it. But if I would have got my hands on him, we would have had a Steve Urkel experience. Speaking of good times, Ruby, we're going back to my home state because America is great. So let's talk about it.
Hi. My name is. Hi.
Pause a bit. Some reason Google Drive is upsetting me today.
My name is Jenny. I'm a sophomore, and this is for all 3 of you. Can you say in one sentence or less what? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world?
Today we're going to talk about something that's a little more dear and near to my heart. Why is it near? Because simply, I am near it. As you can see, anti-blackness of older white lawmakers in Tennessee, Mississippi, I am from Mississippi, versus youth political power. We're going to talk about this. I'm going to go over my thoughts and everything. Shout out to TeenVogue.com. It's a story about anti-blackness / Republican lawmaker. Go check it out. But we are talking about what's going on in my state. I'm going to let y'all see it so y'all can get a good look. And then I'm going to tell you my thoughts on how I feel doing politics in the state of Mississippi. So I'm going to let y'all, listen. First, let's talk about the Tennessee state legislature. Recent attempts to expel 2 black leaders from its ranks is the latest rounds of mind-boggling political gamesmanship driven by racism. One of those lawmakers, Justin Jones, tell Teen Vogue the attempted censorship is a backlash from old guard politicians against the power of young voters. It's also an obvious display of anti-blackness. We can see the same elements playing out in mostly white and male. Mississippi legislators push for more state control of the legal water and police system of Jackson, Mississippi, a majority black city. The situations are not isolated events. They are the result of a country continuously allowing anti-blackness to corrode its democracy, particularly in the face of emerging young electorates that is more progressive than in previous generations. As a nation inept by having a fruitful conversation about race and anti-blackness, specifically, we failed to stop the behavior of those boomers again and again. Many Americans, particularly white people, don't believe anti-blackness is something that impacts our economy and politics. But it's past time we recognize anti-blackness is a threat, not just to black people, but to the very republic and will of young voters. Now, I do want to go, it's more to it, but y'all can go read the article. I want y'all to go read it, check it out. It's a great article. It's some stuff I can just see differently than it, but most of it's relatively correct. And it's something that happened in my state. In the state of Bellevue, if y'all know Tennessee. But it is a wild fight against the youth. If you don't know, the Supreme Court is also looking to give state legislators more power and federal government less power. What does that mean? That means gerrymandering is in full effect, which I will probably have a story on it later on, but it is in full effect. That means they can control it. They make it a republic. They make it harder for you to vote. They put less polling stations inside of your city. Yes, they do that. They put less polling stations inside of your city, specifically if you're black owned. Whereas a smaller white neighborhood would have more polling stations. Mississippi is 39% black, if not 40% black. It used to be 44, but a lot of them moved out, moved to Texas and other places because better opportunity, better jobs, everything else. But it's still ridiculously high. 40% of the state is black. That's by far the most of any state. It used to be by far by almost 8 to 10%. By now I think it's like 4% or so. But it's the most. And in Jackson, Mississippi and other black areas such as the Delta, it's a lady in the Delta literally had to drive 4 hours to Jackson to vote. If you don't know how far the Delta is from Jackson, it's about 4 hours depending on where you at. Some 2 or 3 depending on how far you are. She had to drive that long just to vote. And these are the laws they inflict. They take away libraries out of black cities and do things like that. It's actually disgusting. You can't get educated. The books in the Delta schools, such as, I don't want to say a specific name, but I did have to go to them and do a report on them and actually help and assist. Their books are from like 1890. So when they take state tests, they do horrible on them. Why? Because they don't have any modern techniques on how to do anything. And half the stuff they see on the state test, they don't even have in their books to even study. So you have to hope that a teacher is smart enough and willing enough to actually learn and know what is going on. Oh, everybody got the same thing. Well, if you don't have a textbook, you can't study at home. It is very difficult. If I give one kid more material and this kid less material, the kid with more material will have an advantage. Not saying that, of course, the kid with no material can't outdo the kid with more material, but it's a lot harder. It's like giving somebody a 10-yard head start. Yes, the fastest kids at the school will outrun those kids. But if you're just a kid that's decently fast or decent or faster than the other kid and he has a 10-yard advantage, but you're only slightly faster, you still lose by 8 yards. Because you're only slightly faster. You only beat them by 2 yards. So these distinct advantages have always been around Mississippi, has always been around Tennessee, and a lot of parts of Louisiana. That's how the South wins. If you haven't noticed, the Republican Party literally gets dominated in popularity over and over again, overwhelmingly by the youth. Still, even through the Andrew Tate, the Red Pill, and all that stuff, it is still vastly liberal. For every 4 out of 20 kids that support Andrew Tate, 10 out of 20 are liberal. That's just how life is right now. So they know that. So of course they cheat, do whatever they have to do to control the power. They got a Supreme Court that's mostly on their side, and they try and do whatever advantage they can to keep the parties aligned. This ain't the same. This ain't simple. This is what they have always done. The Whig Party did it before it absolutely got disbanded. It's actually a horrible strategy.
It is indeed a horrible strategy. But yeah, that's what they do, Ruby. You get, if you're in the Delta, for y'all that know the Delta, you get bad water, bad textbooks, hand-me-down textbooks. You get No library. They literally about, I think it was 2016, 17. They literally took all the half of the libraries from, and they all seem to be from black neighborhoods. Like, we don't need this many libraries in state. They all from black neighborhoods. Like, I think they said 98% of them from black neighborhoods. Again, the state is 38 to 40% black. Like I said, the 90-year-old lady had to drive 4 hours to vote in Jackson. A 90-year-old now. She dedicated the Democratic Party because she went all the way 90. She went 4 hours to drive. Well, 2 hours up, 2 hours back to drive just to vote. And then they told her she couldn't vote that day, so she had to drive back the next day.
Yeah, that sounds about accurate. You know, I think the thing is that on one side, so the conservatives have been doing a lot to speak out against mail-in voting, right, and early voting, right? And so I think the thing is that we have to recognize that while the conservatives are trying to speak out against this, one of the reasons why is because it allows us to more easily combat some of these overt challenges that have been issued to our communities to stop us from voting. And the more that our voices are heard as a collective, the less they can just run ripshod all over everything, right? So this is why they're so anti against these things, trying to pretend that it's like, oh, there's so much corruption. No, it's not that there's corruption. It's that the corruption on the other side can't win if we are making sure that we're going out, we're showing up, and we're using every possible tool at our disposal to, you know, get around or to challenge these challenges in essence, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's all we can do.
By the way, at the end of the video, I cut it off a little short. Jay Charles, appreciate you for the topic. It's like I said, near and dear, this is my state. I did politics. I fought against some of this stuff. I talked about 90 point. And by the way, the last part of the video, I was talking about the older black people in the Jackson area who try to fight me on half the stuff I was trying to do to clean up the city. So it's very interesting. Like, you trying to change things. I'm like, yes, your city is trash, but it's harsh. Like I said, I'll acknowledge your feelings. I acknowledge I'm being hurtful to you. I'm not going to say fact over feeling, but sometimes you got to get hurt just to go over.
True. That is true. Now, before we move on to my final story of the night, which is always a Karen, let's be real. Just because I did a Ken earlier doesn't mean we ain't going to do Karen, because come on. Got to start the weekend off right. But before we get there, so Mr. DJ Music has arrived, y'all. Shout out to him. So today we are having a pajama party music, and it's because Ruby is very sick. Okay. So you can see we in our cute little pajama tops and stuff. Ruby's even got pajama pants on, so hold 9, okay? Because I literally rolled out of bed to be here. Not gonna lie. However, you and I, Music, and you know this, we have been having several debates over years about whether or not certain things are such a big deal. Now, Music, for those of you who missed the comments, on one of the videos last week, Music has now admitted that waiting 6 months to sleep with a woman who, you know, is not like a promiscuous type of woman, and so she'd rather get to know you first, than sleep with someone who she's already made a connection with, instead of make it part of the get to know you process, right? Music has never been able to admit that in any context that might be more acceptable. However, we have found a context under which Music has decided, hey, you know what? Actually, that doesn't sound so bad in comparison to being a brother husband. So, Music, we've got another question for you. Now, if you notice in my nighttime getup, I've got hair protection on. That's right. I've got a scarf and I knotted it and everything. See that knot? You see that knot right there? Yeah, that's right. It's knotted, whatever, because I got to protect my locks as I sleep. I'm not sitting there going to bed and all wild and let my hair get all messed up and what. No, you got to protect them locks. You know, you got to make sure that they're protected. So now we ask, he said, will you be eating more crow tonight? Is it acceptable? Or would you find it more acceptable for a woman that you're with? Is it such a big deal that she says, hey, listen, I just want to be able to wear a scarf at night to protect my hair? So that way it looks beautiful when I'm up and about during the day, going out, whatever. I want to protect it, keep it safe and moisturized and whatever. Is that a big deal? Or would you rather a woman who definitely won't wear the scarf to bed but wants some brother husbands? Asking for a friend. It's just for research purposes, sir. So that's just the question. That is the question. I am wearing the question here. You can see it, right? So we have the whole, so that way you can,
I got my do-rag.
I know, right? I know. So we had to ask now. We had to ask conditions and context. I'm giving you the conditions and context. Yeah, you see, the crow hurts. I know, sir. Mind the beak. Mind the beak. Anyway, so let's move on to my final story of the night. Now, this is like the same thing as actually literally 3 of my stories. When I release them next week, there's going to be a lot more story to them, right? Cut them down for, length issues. And so let's watch this Karen now. Oh, no. I need to be there. This is yeah, just talking. There you go. Okay. I love this intro, by the way. So let us go. You about to lose your job. Get this thing. You about to lose your You about to lose your job. Get this thing. You about to lose your job. Get this thing. Now, here's the thing. Before we continue, I'm just going to say she doesn't have a job. She's a student. Should she lose her place in the school? That is currently what's up for debate, but that is certainly what her fellow students are demanding. Now, I have put the change.org petition in the chat room right now, and I'm going to now play the video for you, and I'll show you guys a couple clips of what's going on. So this is the video that started up all the controversy. If you've got children or sensitive to harsh language folk about, you might want to put in some earphones, okay? Because as y'all know, whenever we get to Karens normally do not mind their manners or their P's and Q's or their language, and this one is incredibly racist. And not only does she use harsh language, she says some really foul things that definitely prove that our Ken from earlier is very wrong, and there's definitely a lot of racist people still in America. But okay, let's take a look.
I kill myself. Fuck you. I'm gonna kill myself one day. I hope everyone fucking misses me. Because I'm gonna go back and haunt every fucking little nigger who fucking did me wrong. I literally hate all of them. I'm gonna make them pick fucking cotton in the fields all day long until they fucking die of fucking thirst and fucking. Like, they're literally gonna. Their bodies are gonna dry out because of how much cotton they're picking for me. Because. You about to lose your job. Get this thing. You about to lose your
Bro, I'm sorry. Like, I was actually stunned for a second. I've seen that video countless times, and I keep getting stunned. But let me show you the petition, right? So you've got this petition, right? And this, one of the girls, right, the one on the right here, okay? Her name is Audrey Godlewski, okay? And they are calling for her expulsion from her university. Now, she goes to the University of Wisconsin-Madison. And it's important for you to understand the culture at this school. Now, I'm going to go into a whole bunch of deep dive here, but I want you to understand some of the facts. And so one of the things that people are concerned about, okay, is that she is a CNA, right? And she's a sophomore in pre-nursing. And you can see here people are incredibly worried about her going into a field like nursing when she has such incredibly strong and unfavorable views towards Black people. Okay. But what's also interesting, okay, and you have the Wisconsin Black Student Union. Okay, there's been a lot of stuff going on this one. Okay, they're not taking this line down. I want y'all to understand that the university is trying to say, listen, free speech, not much we can do about it. We're not going to penalize her in any way. It's fine. And the Black Student Union and other students are not taking this line down. Okay, they're saying no. Sorry, not sorry. But y'all have said you're going to create a culture of diversity, right? And at least acceptance and tolerance. So much so, actually, guys, so much so that even they do this thing. Okay, I will show you. Look, this is one of the students says, "What's crazy is that UW-Madison requires a diversity and course to be taken before the semester, and if you don't take it, there's a hold on your account." Right? So now I want y'all to think about that. So they're saying, well, if you don't take this course, right? That's so because diversity and inclusion is so important to us. Sorry, you can't come to the school. We're not even gonna let you register for courses. We're just not gonna allow it, right? But it's clearly just BS. Because now when someone has shown clearly they didn't watch the course, they didn't take the course, they didn't invest in the course, and they're not investing in the principles you claim to uphold, the school goes, it's all right. There's no punishment for her. She cool though. It's all good. And that's what we keep seeing, right? And so you got now University of Virginia is fighting a similar fight, because the University of Virginia also said, yeah, no, we know that we've had some massively racist things going on our campus, right? With a particular student. And they decided, let me show you this. So they said, right, we condemned it. We said this is bad. But we decided that the student's racial slur was expressed in a direct message to her friend. It was not communicated in a way that harassed any individual. And in that context, the speech was protected by the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution because we are a public institution constrained by the First Amendment. OIE and OSAS concluded the university has no grounds to discipline the student who sent the message, even though it is diametrically opposed to our values. Okay, and the reason why I'm talking about this case in particular is because it is this case that is saving Audrey, okay, and that her university is trying to rely on to save her. Now, I want to show you what the student in this case did. Okay, so the student in this case, if you look at they sent a message that says, if they would have killed 4 more N-words, right, like they hard ER and all, we would have had the whole week off. So like, oh, this is your response to a Black person being murdered that going viral. Well, if they just killed 4 more, we would have gone the whole week off, man. Okay, so that is just protected free speech. It's fine, right? When this kid goes on this rant now, right, about picking cotton and every last N-word and and all this stuff, right? Just free speech. That's what they're defending, right? And so you have to remember that this is a country that refuses to make any laws to protect Black students, Black children, Black educators. Like, there is no special protections for us, but the new races come into the country, they get a special law just for them. It's not racist to make a special law to protect Asians, right? But this is fine. So that's what's really happening. Okay. So y'all sign the petition. Definitely sign the petition. And like I said, I have full detail. I've got a couple more videos for y'all and whatever. When I release this one next week, it is packed full. What do you think, Sal?
Yeah, it's the protection of, let's say, First Amendment. Say what you want. You can make it hard for her to get a job though, because businesses aren't under the same protection as the school system. So you can make it harder for her to get a job inside, but school is gonna always be. They're gonna go by that First Amendment because they are funded by the government. And if one Ron DeSantis type dude decided that he don't want to fund them no more, that's it. And the school don't have the same defense that, let's say, Disney World has, and it can trick Ron DeSantis into being stupid 100 times because he's a moron. But the school don't have no protection like that. If he say we ain't funding you no more, they just won't be funded. So I think Wisconsin, I don't know if they have the lady governor still or not. So they might be trying to protect their assets because college now is a business instead of a education thing. So
no, I mean, it is. It's definitely a business. Remember though that we had like a student who just twerked, a black student though, of course, because when black people do something that's a problem, you had a black student who twerks in front of a statue, and they wouldn't give her her diploma, like they wouldn't let her graduate. They basically said, no, sorry, we're invalidating your entire, degree and all that work you did. So
what state
I'm
she?
just
She can
saying,
easily sue depending on what state she in.
somewhere in the Bible Belt, I think.
Outside
No,
of Mississippi, Alabama, even Louisiana, you can sue for that. You can say that infringes on your free
I think she's in a HBCU. I think so, but I'm not 100%. But the thing is, here's the thing. And it's not just her. It happens all the time. They actually do this all the time. Their policy does not allow for this type of behavior, but when the behavior happens and it's a white person doing it to a black person, they don't care. And they're never going to enforce the things that are actually in their code of conduct. It's a code of conduct issue. It's not a free speech issue. You're not allowed to say things like this about the student. You're allowed to say the N-word, right? If this was an intellectual debate, it'd be one thing, right? But that's not what happened here. Let's keep it a buck, right? And it was not even look what. No, listen, y'all watch the breakdown. Y'all will see. Trust me, I got stuff, Zell. You're gonna change your mind. You'll see.
I'm just saying they're gonna assume you don't know, but you could sue in the majority of states. They assume you don't know, and you have to be careful with that because like same thing with the police, how they can't tell you to get out the car. Now if you in certain areas, they don't give a.
But they can though. See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And so people who think that they can't tell you to get out of the car, that's actually incorrect. Right. And so this is where, and a lot of auditors, this is why I like people who audit auditors, because a lot of people don't fully understand their rights and obligations. They don't understand the different things attach when you are operating a motor vehicle that don't attach when you're just walking around. So yeah, no, there's a lot of people end up being wrong.
Yeah, so you gotta, like I said, you gotta be careful what you're doing. The law say one thing, but then there's another law that contradicted, and then you gotta be safe. That's all I gotta say, be safe. Because people will use whatever they can against you, and they might not, it's not gonna be equal. Like I said about the guy earlier, it's not all equal. And a state is not everything equal. We finally got a Florida is crazy intro. Hopefully Google Drive lets us play it all the way through. Because even though it's not even nothing within it, Google Drive just like every video gonna buffer 5 times exactly. Let's see if we do it this time. Let's see if it's 5 buffers. All right, let's go.
I'll kiss the guys and the beautiful women and everybody. I'll just give you a big fat kiss. I'll kiss the guys and the beautiful women and everybody. I'll just give you a big fat kiss.
The craziest people in all of America are in the Bronx and all of Florida and every other day, if not every day. I get proven right about this assessment now.
Oh, that is crazy. Hey, y'all saw the intro. I hope y'all like the new intro. We just trying to do it out here and tell you that Florida's crazy. Everybody want me to prove it every week, so I gotta prove it. Some weeks I'm gonna skip, but I'm gonna prove it again. Florida man wins women's poker tournament, sparks debate over male inclusion in female sports. Now, if you have known the trend around the world, it has seemingly been that more of a trans issue. But now the men are getting into it, right? Male rights. Going real red pill today. Like I said again, Florida man wins women's poker tournament. Let's go over the story. This is by FoxNews.com. Check out Fox News. There's some weird ads on the side. They're trying to get paid, I understand. A Florida man drew ire over the weekend when he entered and won a women's poker tournament at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in the Sunshine State. Dave 70 entered the $250 no-limit Texas Hold'em event with a prize pool of up to $17,450. Of the 83 competitors to enter the tournament, 82 of them were women, and the last one was Hughes. Hughes ended up defeating Diana Kayabutin at the end and take home $5,555, according to the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Hughes was allowed to enter the women's tournament as Florida casinos are prohibited from banning men from entering women's tournaments, according to the anti-discrimination laws. The newspaper noted that the Nevada casino had a similar rule. The World Series of Poker Ladies event had a $10,000 buy-in tournament, and women received 90% discount in hopes of keeping men from entering. A video used the time at the tournament on Saturday was posted on Twitter. Some players put a bounty on him. That's intense, which rewards a player for eliminating him. Oh, that's cool. The bounty went unclaimed. Good luck, not really, the women in the video can be heard saying. Playing WPT ladies event today, and Dave here is the only man, filmed with permission. The issue of a man playing in a women's tournament sparked a debate. I love ladies only poker. I would have no problem with them having a men's only, and I wouldn't enter it as I would not qualify for it. Poker Hall of Fame Linda Johnson said via Poker News. I would have no problem if they had a tournament for 26-year-old motorcycle riding. Mohawk's Haircut Senior said, and I couldn't enter it because I wouldn't qualify. I don't think men should play in ladies only tournaments. That said, I think there is a total of overreaction to the few men who do enter. They are usually looking for attention, so who gives it to them? Maybe we should just ignore them and play our best. This is just my 2 cents. You are welcome to your own thoughts on this. Now y'all can go to Fox News and read the whole report. But my thoughts on this is you have this issue. Florida is a conservative state. And they have this issue with trans people playing in said sport. But you have no problem defending a man playing same said sport. Now, I'll give you this. I will give the Ken argument, that this is not necessarily an athletic sport. This is more of a poker. Women are equal in this. Therefore, they should be able to play. But you then can't claim to want women's only or men's only, but then celebrate a man who entered. Not saying everyone does, but I'm just saying for the people who would do said thing, you come off as a hypocrite. Not saying right or wrong, just saying you don't hold to the values unless you agree or disagree with them. You only hold those values when it's popular for you to do it or when it's not a part of your group. That's the one thing I've noticed about the internet. The internet is full of cliques of people who can't touch people, who try to take said people down. And it's also a part of people who wants to abide by rules that themselves don't have to abide by. We want rules for you, not for me. And I want you to be careful of that when you think about this case, because this case is very interesting. Although, like I said, I've given you the opportunity that it's not an athletic sport, blah, 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 or why should we have women's only sports? I'm pretty sure there's men only poker tournaments where you get a little vulgar, you do a little locker room talk, you know what they say, a little locker room talk. You don't want the women involved. So I'm pretty sure the women, you can go stay out. You don't want to be involved in that because it's going to be a little misogynist, a little misogynist, a little crude, you know what I'm saying? So it's not for you ladies. Protect your ears, protect the children, you know what I'm saying? But this is not a place for that. But then you got to also give the women the same credence. Even though the law said you can't discriminate. Or do the law just choose who you discriminate against? Because Florida is heavy in discrimination. Let me know your thoughts, like and subscribe, all that. Back to you.
So yeah, Florida has rules for you, not me, Ruby. So that man looked like he 100% a bike rider. He be at them Trump rallies. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna win this women's poker tournament. Trump 2024. But them other people, they can't do sports like that. They are a man in a women's sport. They can't do that.
Blame Florida.
I'm just saying, Florida is crazy.
Yeah, Florida is Florida. I mean, listen, the best we can do is try to educate, people like my nephew, right? That Florida is crazy. That's why people like Lovely T call it ratchet ass Florida for that reason. It's a thing. We just know that's just what Florida is about. You know, the normal rules that apply to every other state and city just don't really apply to Florida. Florida's different. It's its own place.
I know it buffered 5 times. It literally did. I even refreshed, stopped, and paused, and went back and let it do it some more. It still did 5 times. It wanted to do it. But in that thing, did you see the story where I put 3 of the craziest stories I seen? But one was really a guy tranquilized the alligator and went to proceed to to the alligator after.
Well, sadly for me, at least, it was very blurry the whole time. Also on top of buffering, so I'm not sure why that is, but I couldn't really see many of the details, unfortunately. So
yeah, I did. But yeah, that was one of the stories. By the way, it was 3 crazy stories. This Florida, and don't worry, next one. If the next one a big one, that's going to be ridiculous. So I'm looking forward to seeing the new title of Bonnet or Brother Husband, which is
if you could just click on that right there. If you could just click on the big one, if you could just click on that for me, just so we can just highlight that. I don't know if we can highlight comments at all. Can we not? That doesn't work.
Not on.
It's okay.
I can go on.
I'll screenshot it and put it. Yeah, if you can put in the restream, just highlight that comment just real quick. Because as I said to everyone else, I was just like, let's see if we can extend the eating crow situation. Let's just see if we can do it. I have a thought. I don't know where it came from, but Vonda, after many, many moons of our long, arduous struggle and battle with brother DJ Music, we have finally gotten some crow eating. Yeah.
They won't let me go on the pass, so I can't. They won't let me do it. So.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. I can just screenshot that for posterity. As long as I know, and everyone here knows, and Music knows that we had this discussion and we won the war. Right? You don't always get to win the battle, but we won the war. That's all that really counts to me. So thanks, Music. I really needed that. It's like Tylenol to my poor, sick, feverish soul. So thank you for But thank you, everybody. For the record, okay, we are at 2.5 hours. This is like 35 minutes shorter than last week. It just seems longer because the intro was on for like 10 minutes. But no, that's where we're at. So thank you all for coming.
Like and subscribe, all that stuff. We had a good time. Next week, I don't know if we're gonna be dressed up or pajamas again. We will let you know actually in the comment section. I do appreciate y'all. Like to subscribe, share, tell everybody what we gotta do. Fun stories. We cut some of them short just to try to keep the show shorter. So the longer forms will be in the bigger video. So go be on the lookout for that. I appreciate y'all. Peace.
Cheers, y'all.